Now, yesterday, in the small East Sussex town of Crowborough, 3,000 people took to the streets to protest the forthcoming arrival of 600 illegal immigrants into an army training centre in the town. It's likely to devastate the community and has implications for the safety and welfare of its residents. People are rightly angry. It's a story, and it's a big one. And it will be covered by Trigonometry, which, of course, is one of the most well talked about and watched talk shows in the world now. It's a podcast, it's a YouTube channel as well. And a special documentary is going to feature this protest at Crowborough yesterday. And the co-host of Trigonometry is Konstantin Kisin. He joins me now. Good morning, Konstantin.
Morning, mate. How are you?
Very well. You were down there at Crowborough yesterday. Can you describe the scenes?
Well, first of all, it was amazing to be there because seeing really is believing, Mark. The people there are extremely concerned, and it's not protesters that have flocked from all over the country because they're ideologically opposed to immigration or anything like that. It's local residents who are absolutely terrified. And one of the people I talked to, there was a young couple with a baby who've just moved into the area because they thought it was going to be a safe place to raise their kids. And now you've got 600 unvetted, undocumented, exclusively men being put there next month, according to the government's plan. When we talk about a military base, you think of safety, you think of order, you think it's, everything's under control. It's not remotely the case at all. It's a cadet training camp. The fence you could hop even at our age. One of the things that people don't realize is these people are allowed to leave at any point. And if they don't come back, well, you'd think, the police come after them or anything. It's not remotely the case. They get a phone call, and if they decide not to come back anyway, the Home Office decide they've made, quote, alternative arrangements. That is the level of insecurity that is going to be in place for people who live there. And you've got to understand, 20,000 people in this town, 600 people coming in who nobody knows anything about, who are going to be able to walk around within 10, 15 minutes of this area. There's a nursery, there's 2 primary schools, there's a secondary school, and right outside, you're showing some footage from our video there. As I stand in front of that sign, which says Crowborough Training Camp, directly across that road, you can see over my shoulder, is a bus stop from which you can take the bus and make your way to either Royal Tunbridge Wells, which is about 15 minutes away, or all the way to Brighton. And in Brighton, in the last few days, there's been a court case in which 3 men have been charged with rape on Brighton's beach. All 3 were confirmed by the Home Office to be asylum seekers from the Middle East, which is exactly the profile of the people who are going to be housed at this camp. You can see why people are extremely concerned.
And labelling concerned local residents as far-right or racist just doesn't work anymore, does it, Konstantin?
No, and it's one of the things that I found really painful actually being there, because I'm so past this conversation. You know my background. I'm a first-generation immigrant in this country myself. And the idea that Crowborough, a town which has welcomed hundreds of Ukrainians, this is a place where ordinary residents, decent, normal people have said, if you're fleeing war, women and children, we'll put you up in our own house. We will have hundreds of these people in our own tiny community. That these people are racist because they don't want undocumented, unvetted single men in their hundreds allowed to walk about a town in which there's basically nothing for them to do. The idea that they're in any way bigoted or prejudiced is just insulting to the British people. And I think all of us in the media and also just general members of the public, we have to get past this idea that raising our voice about the safety of women and children and others in the local community is in any way a problem. The problem is not us. The problem is the government who's putting these people in the town.
Most definitely. Trigonometry is one of the biggest talk shows in the world, speaking to politicians and public figures from across the political and cultural spectrum. And what's really interesting about this documentary is that, not for the first time recently, Konstantin, you've decided to come out of the studio and just listen to real people.
Well, I think that's really, really important, because that's where you actually get to understand what's happening out there in the world. So many of us, and it's difficult once you become a journalist like you or a broadcaster like you. For all of us, if we get stuck in our Westminster bubble, and politicians are guilty of this as well, it becomes quite difficult to understand what's happening in the world in a more objective way. So I like to go out and I like to hear from people. And as you know, I go to pro-Palestine protests, I go to pro-Israel protests. And what I'm really trying to show you is, what is the ordinary person in this country thinking? And I think when it comes to the issue of illegal immigration, the first person that we actually saw yesterday in Crowborough town was a local barber. And I saw this guy putting out a stand which said free tea and coffee for anyone. And we walked over to him. I chatted to him. He explained that he wanted to support the local community. And then his dad got involved. Now, I didn't get into the details of his dad's background, but his dad was clearly an immigrant himself. He had a strong accent. Everybody in this town, whatever their background, I had a Polish woman come up to me and say, I am so against this. I just think we've got to get down to that level and speak to people who've got the real experience on the ground of what's going on. And when you listen to their stories, when you see with your own eyes, these families that are getting together and saying, I'm not going to be able to let my daughter, who's walked to school all her life, I'm not going to be able to allow her to go out and go to school by herself anymore. I think once you hear that, all of these Westminster talking points about, oh, this is the right, or this is the far right, or this is nothing to do with politics, Mark. This is about common sense and ordinary, normal people saying, we do not want a threat to our families in this town. Simple as that.
More power to you for giving a voice to ordinary people from a multi-ethnic background who are united in their concern about the consequences of illegal immigration and unchecked legal net migration as well. Konstantin, very excited about this documentary. It comes out tomorrow evening on the Trigonometry channel. That's on YouTube. Trigger as in Trigger, like a gun. Trigonometry. Find it as a podcast, find it on YouTube, well worth a watch. My thanks to Konstantin Kisin, who is the co-host of what is absolutely a brilliant programme, rather important as well. They tried to cancel them 100 times. They won't fail, because what do Konstantin and what does Francis do? Well, they tell the truth. Fantastic stuff.